So okay students, welcome back to the today's session of Elements of Civil Engineering. So in the today's class, let me start with a new chapter, that is analysis of simple trusses. So it is comes in the third module only. The second part in the third module is related with the trusses. So in the today's class, let me discuss what do you mean by the trusses, where we can see the trusses, and what is the necessity of analyzing these trusses. So before going to start with this, you must understand what do you mean by the analysis. So because whatever the support reactions, so whatever the problems we have solved with the Lamis theorem and the different theorems by using the equilibrium condition, so we are finding out the what is the support reactions, what all the unknowns there. So before going to start with this, you must understand, so what do you mean by the analysis. Just I am giving an example of any beam. So beam is nothing but, so if you are having a so any structure, so some simple beam if you are considered, how much load which is coming on the beam. So it may be point load, or it may be the UDL, or it may be the uniformly varying load. So first we need to find out, so what is the load which is coming on the beam. So that is what we are considering it as an analysis. So in order to resist this much of load, in order to resist the moment, this much of moment, it may be the 10 kilonewton meter. So what may be the size of the beam, right? So what may be the size of the beam, so how much depth we need to provide, or so what is the width of the beam. So the deciding of the section, so what is the dimension of the section, so that is comes under the design. So here analysis means only we are going to find out the what is the number of loads which is acting on a particular structure. So it may be beam, it may be truss, or it may be any of the structure. So we are going to find out, so what is the maximum load which is coming on the structure, so that you need to find out here. So here in this chapter we are discussing with trusses. So truss is nothing but what? It is the number of members which is connected in a systematic manner in order to fulfill the some requirements. So what are all the requirements? It may be to carry the load, or it may be to share the load from one member to another member. The number of members are interconnected systematically. So that what we are considering it as a trusses. Just I will show you for your reference, just I will show the some of the figures, so where we can observe the trusses in the daily to day life. You just observe here, just observe roof trusses are there. So in sometimes we are providing as a roof in the residential buildings. So you can observe the different figures are available here, which is showing the roof trusses. So these structures we are calling it as a truss. So what are all the members you are observing? That is interconnected members. So these are all considered as the members in the different trusses. So whatever the truss you are observing now on the screen, which is roof trusses, and we can use the same thing in case of bridges also, right? So if you want to construct a bridge, so then you are going to provide the some of these trusses. In case of bridges also, you can observe the different types of trusses which are provided in the different construction field. So what is the aim here? So you just observe there are inclined members are there here. So we need to find out what is the force which is acting on this internal member because of the external load. So what is the force which is coming on the member? You just observe this figure carefully. So this whatever the red color it is indicating, this is considered as a truss. So in this chapter we are going to find out how much load which is coming on this truss, that is internal forces. So still now whatever the force or whatever the forces or the support reactions we have calculated, that are all external forces, but here the internal axial force which is developed on a stress, that you need to determine here. That is what the analysis of the trusses here. So now we have understood what you mean by the truss. So then what is the necessity of analyzing this truss? So truss is nothing but it is the member, or it is the system in which the number of members are connected systematically in order to transfer the load as well as to share the load from one member to the another member. So that is we are considering it as a trusses, and only thing here we are dealing with the internal forces which is developed in the different members, right. So now we will come across the two things here, that is statically determinate and statically undeterminate, that is determinate structures as well as undeterminate. Just wait for a while. Just wait. So okay, let me continue. So as we know, the trusses we are discussing. So there are two types of structures we can observe, that is determinate structure as well as indeterminate structure. So what do you mean by the determinate structure and what do you mean by the indeterminate structure? So that you need to understand. So before going to start with the analysis, determinate structures and another thing is indeterminate structures. So what it means, that is statically determinate or statically indeterminate structure means, so we are having the three equilibrium conditions: summation of horizontal force is equal to 0, summation of vertical force is equal to 0, summation of moment is equal to 0. So if any beam or any truss, we can analyze or we can find out the unknowns only by using these three equilibrium condition. So then that structure is considered as a statically determinate structure. Clear? Just I will give an example. So suppose if you are having a beam, here fixed support is there. So and another here we can consider roller support, right. So just consider this entire beam, we are having the four unknowns here: horizontal force, vertical force, moment at this support, and roller force support is there. Again this is also unknown. Four unknowns are there, but available equilibrium conditions are three here. So we cannot analyze this or we cannot solve the unknowns by using only these three equilibrium condition. So because unknowns are four here, so therefore this beam becomes the indeterminate. So means whatever the structure, so which can be analyzed or which can be solved or to find out the unknowns using only these available three equilibrium condition, so that structures we are considering it as a statically determinate structure. So if we cannot analyze that one, so if the number of unknowns are more than the available equilibrium condition, that type of structure is considered as the statically indeterminate structure here. So here we are talking about the stresses. Here also we are having the different types of trusses based on the stability. So whether it can stable to carry the load or not. So we are going to classify the trusses into the three categories. So that is we are discussing about the classification of trusses. So you know that the stress is nothing but the different members which is connected in a systematic manner in order to transfer the load from the one member to another member, or in order to share the load for the neighboring members. We are going to use the simple the structural member. So that is what the trusses. So we are having the classification. So first one is rigid or a perfect stress. Rigid truss, we can also call it as perfect stress. Perfect truss. So what it means rigid or a perfect truss means, just I will give an example. We are having the standard equation m is equal to 2j minus 3. So this is very important, especially in order to find out the type of trusses. So here m is nothing but what? The number of members in a truss. J is nothing but the number of joints in the truss. M is the number of members, J is nothing but the number of joints in a trusses. So by using this, we are going to decide whether the given truss is perfect truss or not. So how we are going to decide? Just I will draw a simple truss here. Just I am going to draw. This is this is what the truss I am drawing, which is having some support. So usually the trusses are supported with a pin joint, is nothing but the hinged support or a pin joint we are going to provide in the trusses. So this is what the simple truss. So now we need to decide whether this is rigid truss or not. So rigid truss is nothing but what? The number of members are sufficient to resist the load and the deformation is very small. So how we are going to determine? By using this equation. So if m is equal to 2j minus 3, if it is satisfied, so means LHS is equal to RHS. So that type of truss we are considering it as a rigid truss. So by the definition, what we can say, rigid truss is a one in which the number of members are sufficient. So there should not be any deflection, sufficient to carry the external loads which is coming on the trusses, and the deformation is very small. So how we are going to know that whether it is sufficient to carry the load or not? Using this equation, so we are going to find out it. So now we are going to count how many members. I have told you m is nothing but the number of members, j is nothing but the number of joints. So let me count how many members are there in the truss. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and this is 5. So number of members in a given truss is equal to 5. So now let me count how many joints are there. Just observe the figure and let me answer how many joints are there in the given truss. How many joints are there? Yes? Just observe here. 4 joints. This is one joint. This is one joint. This is one joint. And this is one joint. The number of joints are how much here? 4 joints. M is equal to 5. Number of members in a given truss is 5 and number of joints in a given truss is 4. So let me substitute 2 into number of joints are 4 minus 3, that is 8 minus 3, 2 4s are, that is 8 minus 3 is equal to 5. This is also equal to 5. So LHS is equal to RHS. So therefore our truss is what? Rigid truss or a perfect truss. So means, so if you are going to provide this type of trusses, so there is a minimum deflection, minimum deformation we can observe in case of the structures. Clear? So, that is one type of truss, that is rigid or a perfect truss, that is whatever the number of members which are provided which is sufficient to carry the load. So, that type of truss is considered it as a rigid truss. So, is it clear? Is it clear? Are you following or not? Yes, are you following? So, if it is not means I will going to repeat the things. Yes, have you understood? Yes or no? Classification of the trusses. So, in that the first classification I have discussed in detail. Rigid truss is nothing but whatever the number of members. So, it is not the thing that you only need to provide the 5 members, 4 members. So, it may be based on the requirement. So, in the given truss only, so if the number of members which is provided in the truss, if it is sufficient to carry the load, if the deformation is minimum, so then that type of truss is what? The rigid truss. Clear? How we are coming to know this is the rigid truss means by using this expression we are going to analyze whether it is the rigid truss or not. So, if it is LHS is equal to RHS, M is equal to 2J minus 3, then the truss is considered as a rigid truss. M is nothing but number of members, J is nothing but the number of joints in the particular structure. Members is nothing but you can observe horizontal and vertical member. Joint means where it is connected, you just consider the number of joint. So, now we are going to discuss the another type, that is non-rigid truss. So, as the name indicates, the non-rigid truss or a deficient truss. So, we can easily now differentiate by seeing the name itself. Deficient means so how whatever the number of members which is presented in the truss, if it is insufficient to carry the load, so or if the deflection is more, so then that type of trusses we are considering it as the non-rigid type truss or the deficient truss. So, just I will give an example. You just see here I have drawn the square truss here. So, this is what the non-rigid truss or a deficient truss. So, if you are provided the truss like this is non-rigid. How we are going to decide it? So, we are having the standard equation M is equal to 2J minus 3. How many members are there here? M is nothing but number of members. How many members are there in this truss? J is nothing but number of joints. So, what is the value of M here? How many members are there? Count here 1, this is 1 member, second, third and fourth. We are having the 4 members are there here and the number of joints. So, this is 1 joint, so this is 1 joint, this is 1 joint and this is 1 joint, 4 joints. So, members also 4, joints also 4 here. Just substitute the value. M is 4, number of joints are 4 minus 3. So, now what happens? 4. So, now it is 5 less than 5, right. So, 4 is less than 5. So, if it is less, so means M is less than 2J minus 3. So, that type of stress is considered as a deficient stress. Means what? The number of members which are less than the required for the perfect stress. So, if you are provided any member here, another member, then it is becoming the perfect stress. So, now only the members are 4. So, what we can define? The whatever the number of members which are available, if it is less than the required for the perfect stress, so that type of stress we are considering it as a non-rigid truss or a deficient stress. Is it clear? And the last thing, over rigid truss. So now the deficient is over. So if it is maximum, so that is more than, if it is m is less than 2j minus 3, then it is the number of members are insufficient to carry the load. So if it is greater means, so we are providing more than the requirement. So that is what over rigid truss, we can also call it as the redundant truss. That is third type of truss what we are using, that is over rigid truss. We can also call it as the redundant truss. Redundant truss. So what it mean by seeing the equation itself? So if m is greater than 2j minus 3, then that type of stress comes under the over rigid truss. Just I will write the example for the over rigid truss also. So if you are having the truss like this, right, this is a truss, this is one member, this is one member, and which is provided with some support here, pin jointed support, usually hinged support we are providing. So now let me count the number of members. How many members are there here? Just observe the figure and let me answer how many members are there, how many joints are there. So this is one joint, second, third, and this is fourth. So here we are not considering it as a joint, this is an overlap. Clear? So means sometime it is considered as a joint and it is considered as a overlap, but usually this is an overlap, we are not considering it as a joint. So therefore number of joints is equal to 4. So now the number of members I need to count, this is 1 and this is 2, 3, 4 and this one 5 and this one 6. Number of members are 6 here, that is 6 is greater than 2j, j is how much? 4 minus 3 is nothing but 5, 6 is greater than 5. So therefore whatever this type of truss we can observe, that is over rigid truss. Clear? So if it is the number of members which is more than the required, so that type of trusses we can consider it as a over rigid truss, and the relation what we can define, that is m is greater than 2j minus 3, so then that type of stresses we are considering it as a over rigid trusses. So this is what the simple classification. So you may get in the exam the what do you mean by the truss, and write the different classification. Rigid truss, so if it is m is equal to 2j minus 3, redundant or deficient or a non-rigid, m is less than 2j minus 3. So over rigid if m is greater than 2j minus 3. These conditions you need to remember, that is m is 2j minus 3 and m is less than 2j minus 3 and m is greater than 2j minus 3. So these are all the different types of trusses usually we are observing in the daily today life. Clear? Yes, are you there? Are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now the thing is, so whatever the analysis or whatever the problems, we are making some of the assumptions here, right? So some of the assumptions to minimize the complexity of work. So here also we are having some of the assumptions, and just before going to that I will show you the different pictures with the trusses. You just observe here. So I have copied the different types of trusses You can observe the flat truss, Hoe truss and K truss. This is usually bridge, we are going to provide this one, and flint truss. So here you can observe the different members are connected with a pin joint. Clear? So in the analysis or in the problem, we need to, I will give a name it as A and B. We need to determine what is the tension on AB, right? So what is the tension on BC, whether it is the compressive force or a tension force. So that you need to determine by using the different methods. Method of joints are there, method of section is there. By using that you need to determine what is the forces on the different members. So that is only the thing. So these are all the representation of the trusses, which is usually we are using. So these three are the roof trusses we are going to provide for the roof. In case of where there is, we are not going to provide the RCC. For the roof also we are providing this, and this is what the truss we are used in case of the bridges. So if you want to construct a bridge, you just observe here also the Hoe truss, K truss is there, Warren truss. So this is what usually we are going to use in case of the bridges. So whatever the joints you are observing, these are all the pin joints. So in order to analyze this, so what are all the assumptions we are going to make in this? So means in order to analyze the problem, so what are all the assumptions we are making in case of trusses, so that you need to understand. So what is the first assumption we are going to make here? The members are straight. So whatever the members in a truss we are considering, so that members are straight. So there is no any undulation. Whatever the members we are using, that is members are the straight here. And the cross section of the member is uniform. Cross section of member is nothing but what? So if you are using a beam of any one size, so it is entirely throughout the connection, the size is same. So if it is 100, if it is 100, so that is same. That is cross section of the member or a section is considered as a same. That is what another assumption. And the third assumption, very important assumption, forces or the loads, that is forces are only acting on the joint, only acting on the joint. Try to understand here what it means. Just I have shown you the different figures. Whatever the forces are there, that is only acting on a joint here. So where the joints are there, there we need to provide the loads or a forces. So we cannot provide the force on a member. Clear? So if it is a member, if it is a joint, we need to apply the load on the joint only. We cannot apply the load on the member, that is center of the member. Where there is a joints are there, we can apply the load. We cannot apply at the span of the member here. So that is what the important assumption. All the forces which is acting only on the joints. So that is what the another assumption which has been made in case of the trusses. And the members are pin jointed, as I explained you. So whatever the joint we are having, that is pin jointed. We are not having the fixed support, simple support. So whatever the joint it is there, that is considered as a pin jointed, and all are rigid member. So we are already discussed what do you mean by the rigid body, deformable bodies. So whatever the members we are using here, so all the members are rigid here. So and the types of forces, so whatever the members which are there in the trusses, which is subjected to the two types of forces, one is tension force, another one is compression, right? So one is tension and another one is compression. So these are all the assumptions we are going to make in case of the analysis of the trusses, that is members are straight, cross section is same, forces are only acting on the joints. Whatever the joint we are providing, it is pin jointed, all the members are rigid. We are going to observe the two types of forces, that is tension if we are getting the positive value, then the force is considered as a tension. If we are getting the negative value, then the force is considered as a compression. So we well know that compression is nothing but it is towards the body. If any body is there, if it is coming towards the body, this type of force we are considering it as a compression. So if it is acting away from the body, then it is a tensile force. So it is trying to pull the body, that is tensile force. Trying to compress the any body, that is the compression force. So tension is considered as a positive here and the compression is considered as a negative here. So these are all the assumption we are going to make in case of the trusses. We are going to make these assumptions in order to solve the problem. Is it clear? Yes. Okay, just last we can discuss on some of the steps that we need to follow in case of the analysis. So first we need to check whether it is determinate structure or indeterminate structure, right? How we are going to determine that I will explain you in detail while solving the problem. So if any truss is given, so any trusses are given like this. So you need to check whether the truss is statically determinate or indeterminate structure. So that is the first step. Clear? So after that, calculate the support reaction for the entire truss. We know that how to calculate the support reaction. So if any truss is supported with a roller or a pin jointed, just apply the equilibrium condition and find out what is the support reaction. Clear? Now by considering each joint, we are going to find out the unknowns by applying the equilibrium condition. How it is, just I will give an example. So if it is a truss, this is the joint A, B, C and D. We are going to consider joint method, that is by joint method we are analyzing. When I am considering only joint A, how many forces are acting, that we need to consider, apply the equilibrium condition and find out the unknowns. So in detail I will explain while solving the problem. So now consider the joints, applying the equilibrium condition and find out the unknowns. So initially we are considering all the forces which is moving away from the joint. So means what, we don't know the direction, whether the force is coming towards A or whether it is moving away from A, we don't know. So at the beginning, initially what we need to make, we need to consider force is tension, that is moving away from the joint. So by making this assumption, we are going to solve the problem. If it is positive, then assumption is correct. If the value is negative, then this force is not moving on the tension side, it is not moving away from the joint, it is coming towards the joint when the value is negative. So but initially we need to assume all the forces are tension, that is arrowhead is away from the joint, that is positive. Apply the equilibrium condition and find out the unknown. If it is negative, whatever the value is negative, so then our assumption is wrong, the direction is compression. That direction is opposite to the assumed direction. So that like that you need to make the correction. So then after that, find out in all the members. So you need to write what is the member, that is A, B, B, C, C, D, and what is the value of internal forces, that is axial forces, and nature, whether it is tension, compression, tension, compression. So that you need to make the list here. So the complete analysis is there. So very important, the analysis of the trusses. So in the today's class I have given the brief introduction regarding this, what do you mean by the trusses, types of trusses, and how we are going to make the assumptions and what all the steps it is involved in case of the solving the problems. So in detail we have discussed here. So in the next class we are going to start with a problem, the very important problem, that is how we are going to analyze this truss by the method of joints. So here in the analysis we are having the two types of methods. One is the method of joints, that is one method, that is method of joints, method of joints, and another method is method of section. So these two methods are very important. So means to find out the axial forces, we are having two methods, method of joints and method of section. Analysis of truss by method of joints, analysis of truss by the method of section. So in detail I am going to explain the one problem in the next class. Don't miss the classes. So we can continue the analysis problem in the next session. Let me continue the problems or numericals on the analysis of the trusses in the next session.